All right, since we are live, hello everyone. Can we take a moment to appreciate? Can you see it? It's almost like a heart or a tulip. I don't know. But yes, I'm improving in my latte art skills. How's everyone doing? Allow me to please move the screen to the other side because I kind of like to start with this, the preview of myself here. But I don't like to look at myself, so I'm gonna move that. I'm gonna put this over here. And let's move this to the side. Good. I'm gonna open the chat in case someone wants to say hello. How you doing? It is Friday, 14th of March, 2025, and it is 11 a.m. for me. I started the stream a little bit delayed because I was trying to install something that I realized I didn't have on this laptop, and it's currently installing, so apologizes about that. And yeah, I think I have everything in place now. But yeah, let's talk about things. So first things first, I always start the stream with coffee news. And to be honest, today I don't have many coffee news other than my latte art improvements. And a very sad news that I found out that one of my favorite roasters in the city I live is going to be closing. I don't know if they're going to stop selling like roasting coffee or what's going to happen there, but I'm very sad about that. And yeah, I just let them know, just let me know when this is happening so I can come and like grab all the leftover coffee and like freeze it or something like that. Well, yeah, TBD to see if that's going to happen. And that's pretty much it about coffee news, to be honest. There's not much going on in my life about that. I did get a V60 a couple of weeks ago, but I'll be honest with y'all, I have not used it yet. All of the beans that I have are like chocolatey and so on, and I really don't want to drink that from a V60. I would rather drink something more fruity, and I don't have those beans right now, so maybe when this roaster tells me we're closing, I'll buy all those beans left over and I can finally taste the V60 coffee. And yeah, I think it's time we talk about what happened last week. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen in just a second. Let me open this and open this, move all these folders to where they have to be. Cool. So let's share the screen. I'm going to share my entire window, my entire screen, sorry. This screen, share. Are we sharing? Yes. Okay, cool. So last week, we were going through the SDK generator, but working with the Ruby SDK that was generated from the generator. I know, I'm using that word a lot. And we run into a very ugly error that I honestly did not figure out what was happening, but basically, let me see if I can open I'm gonna open it on this screen first. Let me see if I can do that. If I can open the generator here, because what I have open right now and what I'm showing you is the actual SDK ready as a Ruby gem. So yeah, I have the generator open. I'm gonna open that in VS Code just because, it's more general, I think. Is this readable? Let me see. I think so. Okay. So it turns out that when you're generating an SDK using this generator, you need to specify in the make file what kind of HTTP client you're going to use with this library flag. And for a Ruby client, you have three options. You can do it HTTPX, you can use Typhus, or you can use Faraday. Because of reasons, nor HTTPX or Typhus were working. And I'm kind of okay with that because I'm not using either of those. I'm actually using Faraday. But the thing is that with the other two libraries, the actual code to, like, let me show you, like if I go to the API client code, there's a whole part about calling the API, building the request and whatnot, which is going to change depending on which HTTP client you're using. And for some reason, that was simply not being generated. It's like, it was ignoring the default. I think by default, it was using Typhus and it was just not working. So I tried, with different, I tested them all basically. And the only one that was working was Fardadat, which happened to be the one that we wanted to use, because I think compared to the other two, I think it's one of the most supported gems, or like it's kept more up to date than the other gems. So yeah, with Faraday, as you can see here, the generated code actually works. But that was the error we kind of discovered in the previous live stream. So today what I want to do is I want to show you a little bit of what I've worked on this week. So I'm going to close the generator and I'm just going to stay here in my RubyMine Explorer. So basically, this is the generated code from this is the generated gem. I'm going to call it like that, from the SDK generator. This is what you'll see whenever you go to the repo and you want to learn more about this gem. This is how it's going to look like, at least for now. And what I've been working on this week is to create some tests for it, because realizing that the generated code was missing some code, like it's just not feasible for me to go like file by file checking what's missing. And so I'm just starting to generate tests and see if I find errors. And so I started with the OpenFGA API, and this class, let me zoom in a bit, because I think it's not visible enough. Where do I zoom in here? I usually use VS Code, but because I'm working with Ruby alone, I decided to use RubyMine. So let me try to figure this out. Window, zoom. Okay, it's not there. I'm just gonna change on the preferences to have like a bigger font. Editor, font. It's 14 right now. Let's just put like 16 maybe. See, is that better? Maybe a little bit bigger, just for the sake of the stream. Okay. So yeah, this class has all the endpoints or calls or requests to the OpenFGA API. And if we do a little recap on the API, we remember that we have multiple endpoints, and they're related to the stores, the authorization model, relationship tuples, relationship queries, and assertions. So we kind of have like, I'm going to call them entities. So like 5 different entities we want to create endpoints for. And they're all in this very big file. Sorry, not the right file. This one. They're all in this file. As you can see, this is like, I don't know how many lines. Let's see. Yeah, 1,234 lines. So yeah, all the methods are here. They're nicely organized alphabetically, but then for the spec, what I wanted to do is to kind of organize them a little bit different. And I think I have that in a different branch. So allow me to change my branch. I'm gonna use this terminal from here. I'm in main right now, so I'm going to change to, I think I call it chores test. Yes. Let me see. This should be refreshed. Yep. So yeah, what I'm doing is I have a few tests that are specific for the OpenFGA API, like testing the instance, using the correct host, that kind of stuff. And then I'm organizing them in different entities. So I have tests related to stores, related to authorization models, to relationship tuples, relationship queries, assertions, similarly to what you would find on the API documentation. I gotta keep stopping to drink this coffee because it's gonna get cold, and there's nothing I hate more than cold coffee. even in summer. I don't know about you, but I would rather have like a hot coffee. Like I don't like iced coffee. Like iced coffee is like a last resort of like I'm very hot, but I really want coffee, so I'm gonna drink it. But I prefer not to do it. But yeah, and so what I did this week is I work on these tests for the stores endpoint. So basically, when creating a store, deleting, getting, and listing stores. And the tests, I mean, they're pretty simple. I always struggle with like stopping requests when I'm running tests. And so I had my little friend GitHub Copilot help me with that. And I just modified the code that it gave me because it was very ugly. So I just took the idea from it. So what I did is I created a new file here called the stop helper. And so this is going to stop a request with a response. And then I'm kind of reusing that for any method, whether it's a get, post, patch, whatever. So far, I'm only using get, post, and delete, I think. And yeah, I'm just stopping the request like this. And so I don't have to actually make requests because that's not something that I want to test. I only want to test that the code that we have in this application works, not that the request works. All right. So yeah, I think I'm gonna continue doing that while we're in the stream, basically. But yeah, let me run the test just to make sure that everything is okay. I'm gonna put this. I'm using RSpec, which is not working probably because I need to install things. Let's wait. That's probably because I recently cloned this project. I was working on this project on my other laptop, so need to install that. Let me close this because I don't think my laptop can handle two IDEs open or like text editors. Awesome. We have this. So now let's try RSpec. There we go. And there's a bunch of empty tests. So don't get yourself think that I have that number of tests running. Wow, this is really slow. I might have to go back to Visual Studio Code because I don't know if my laptop can actually handle RubyMine right now. It's very slow. Also, it's doing like a lot of like background stuff, which I don't think we need. So it says I have 300, like my hundreds and my thousands today are just not working. 334 examples. Okay, that was actually correct. And 0 failures. Yes, please, Rubocop, leave me alone. And like I said, the store ones are ready, so I'm going to ignore those for now. Did I do the authorization model ones? I did not. So this one's an interesting one because, yeah, as you can know, this is like a placeholder. It should work. That's generated. Like I didn't write that. But what I'm doing is trying to test the happy path. So in, where this returns a 200, let's open this one. So to create an authorization model, and let's remember that an authorization model is where you actually define what's going on in your OpenFGA authorization system. So let me show you here. So is it big enough? Yeah. The authorization model would be where you define who can do what and under which conditions. In this example, so this is an example called GitHub. In this example, we're defining different types, which are the different entities of our application. And so we have the type organization, and then we define the relations. And we can say, within an organization, you can have members, and those can be users or owners. And then if you go to owners can be users, and so on and so forth. Similarly for repos, you have different conditions, but as you can see, this is basically the authorization model. And so when you want to write an authorization model into OpenFGA, you have to do it using the API. I mean, you have to do it with a JSON file that kind of looks like this. Luckily for us, from the playground, which is under play.fga.dev. If you want to test it on the cloud, let's kind of call it like that. You can copy from JSON, but you can also run the server locally, the OpenFGA server locally, and test some things out yourself there. My Docker is not running as usually, so let me open that so I can run my server locally. My laptop is gonna die. My laptop is like, what are you doing, Momo? Are you gonna open something else? You crazy? Did it open though? It did not. Do you really want me to? Really? I also wanted to let you know that I think for the next couple of weeks, I will continue working on this, but unfortunately, I won't be able to live stream it, mainly because Docker opened, yes, mainly because I'm going to be traveling for different events, which hopefully, if you are in one of them, we can meet and maybe have a coffee. The first one being, I think, Box Days Amsterdam. I'm going to be there with one of my colleagues. And yeah, if you're around Amsterdam, I think it's the beginning of April, 2nd to the 4th of April. So if you're around Amsterdam, you want to hang out, let me know. And yeah, okay, so Docker is running. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this stuff. And I'm just going to leave it running because I do want to test some things out. So as you can see, this is how you would write an authorization model. This is the payload that we need to, or like the request body that we need to send. And this is quite simple because we only have like 2 types and like 1 relation, I think. But for something bigger, like the GitHub example, that might look like this. And if I recall correctly, I put it here. So yeah, this is how you would write like a whole authorization model. And I wanted to use this long example because I want to make sure that we're using as many attributes as possible. So I have that here, and then I also created this example to load this and use it in my tests. These are all like helper files that I'm creating for my tests. Because if you remember, probably you don't remember, you don't have to, but for the generated SDK, tests are not generated, so we can do whatever we want with them and define them as we want to. So let's see how we can write this authorization model test. And I think I'm gonna ask for help from my little Copilot friend. Oh my God, you see my stuff. Let me start again, so it gives me another code. Quick. Okay. Let me open that. Move this here so you don't see it. I'm going to continue. I'm going to copy the code, continue. I'm going to authorize this, and I'm all set now. Let's see. Should be all set. Waiting for GitHub authentication. Yeah, this is what I was just installing that I told you. I didn't have Copilot on this laptop, so, and I wanted to do tests, and I'll be honest, I would rather, I need help for tests just to start. So yeah, we're gonna ask Copilot. Let me see, do you have the context? I wanted to have the context of this file, and I'm gonna close. No, I'm gonna leave these 4 files open to see if it gets the content of it. Let's see. Test, generate unit test for, how smart is this? For write authorization model. Let's see if this works. It's thinking. I'm gonna minimize this and hi Jesus, how you doing? Thank you for watching. Let me see. Okay, so describe. Okay, I like the structure so far. When writing an authorization model, describe right authorization model, store ID, valid body. Okay, that's a fair name, but we have a JSON file that we can replace with this. And then we have an invalid body. And so creates a model successfully. You know what? Let's just copy the tests. I'm not going to copy the first part because meh. And this is only for right authorization models. So that would be this part right here. Let's see. And I'm going to get rid of Copilot for now so we can see the whole screen. Okay, so authorization models. When creating an authorization model, creates an authorization model successfully. So the response is going to be API instance, right authorization model. Let's make sure that's the correct name. It is, because sometimes you get weird things. And we're passing a store ID and a valid body. So, and we're expecting that to be a right authorization model and the authorization model not to be ID, not to be nil. Okay, that's fair. But let me create things here. So I'm going to create first the store ID, and let me see, do we have any suggestion for a store ID here? Like, I don't know. I'm going to make this up. I don't know if this is a valid store ID, but I'm going to wing it. And then we have a valid body, and I want to see if I can use that method I created for this. So valid body, and then here I would be using my authorization models helper dot. How did I call it? Don't remember. Authorization model. Body? Really? No, just authorization model. Just like that. And the invalid body is not going to be this. We're just going to define an empty type. I think it's type definitions. And then we're going to say this is like an empty array. Let me double check my JSON. Yeah, let's just send an empty array and see how that works. What do you want? Oh, okay, this is not really a hash. What are you doing? So I have to use double curly braces. Okay. And I didn't touch the generated code from Copilot, so let's see. Let's see what this does. I'm going to run only these ones. I could run them using RubyMine, but I'm going to do it with my terminal. So it's line 166. So RSpec, spec, API, OpenFGA, line 166. Let's see. Okay, out of 4 examples, 3 failed. This is Copilot's code, but it could be my fault. And of course, it's saying you have an API, you have an error that, you're trying to make a real HTTP connection. You haven't stopped anything. And that is completely true. So we're going to stop this request here. So we're going to stop the request with a response. This is a post method. And then I'm going to send, allow me to check this, the path, and the path is going to be, I don't remember. So I'm going to copy it from the stores example. I'm going to copy this whole thing. Should probably put the path and all that somewhere else. I mean, like extract it into its own variable. So this is a post request. The path is stores. We're going to pass a store ID. And then authorization models. Let's see what is the right status code this needs to return. Let me bring back my API here. So this is supposed to return 201. and the authorization model ID. So this should be A201. The request body is actually going to be the valid body that we created earlier. To JSON, I'm not sure, so I'm not going to do this. And the response body is simply going to be the authorization model ID. So correct. Thank you, Copilot. This is a randomly generated string, I hope. This looks okay, the stop request. Let me check the terminal to see if I get a hint on the, yeah, I don't. So let's try only the first test, which is the one on line 178. So that's the only one I'm going to try. On the find method authorization model for authorization models helper. What's this then? Authorization model. What? What's going on? Okay. Let me see. Authorization model payload? I don't know. Just want to change the name to see if it's something like a naming situation. I doubt it, but you know. Maybe I need to import it. That could be it. Let me see. I do have it on my spec helper though. Yeah. So not sure. Let's see. If not, we're gonna ask a pilot. Again. So on the find method blah for this method. Authorization models helper. So it seems like I don't have access to that class. To that method, sorry. And I don't know why. Where am I? Here. Do I have access to anything though? No. Why? Why does... you know why? Similarly to this, I don't think I need to use it. I think I can just say authorization. Wait, like this. Can I just do that? Let me see. Because I'm already importing that in the spec helper, so that could be it. No. But I can do it from here. So if I can do it with the stop helper, which are basically, you know, the same, why can't I do it with this one? I'm gonna do something. I want to see if it's like a loading situation. So I'm gonna move this to this file just to make sure it's a loading situation. It is because it is trying to get into this file. So for some reason, my other file's not being loaded. So let me see why. Let me compare it side by side with my stop helper, for example. Can we split this into like two? Yes, thank you very much. Here's my stop helper. And it's a model called this. And I have a method, and that's pretty much it. So they're very similar in that sense. They're in the same folder. And the way I'm importing them here, weird. I am importing them together. So, oh wait, maybe I need to load it here. Whoa, do I? I don't. I just need to import it. And that's it. Oh yeah, hey, I do. I need to do config.include authorization models helper, and now this should work. And did I get rid of this? Yes. I'll close this. Now this should like do something other than complaining about that. Yeah. No such file. This could be because I'm trying to read the file wrong. So it's just trying to go to spec support fixture authorization model .json. I don't know why I had that name. I changed it. Authorization model .json. Let's see now. Okay, I'm really annoyed about those warnings, but we did get some different errors. So we're getting the net connect allowed error. That means we're trying to make a request and we're not stopping the request. So let's see. Sometimes, yeah, you get like a suggestion to how to stop this. Okay, so you want to do it with this and this body. Okay, what's the difference between the body? Okay, the first thing that I'm noticing is I think I need to send this as a JSON. You see, this doesn't have any, like, it's not escaping any of the quotes or anything. So I'm going to transform that to a JSON. That's the first thing. I think the headers and all of that are okay. So let me try with that. Let's try it. Where's my file? This one. And then let's just close here. Okay, so the request is going to be these two JSON. And let's test this out just to see if we get an error or something. Line 178. Okay, got a similar error, but we'll see. My God, what is going on? Wait, let me go to the beginning. Okay, we have a stubbing error. This is literally like, this happens to me all the time when I'm doing tests. Like once I figure out how to stop the request, how to mock it, I don't know why, but it's just so complex for me to figure this part out. On registered request, stores ID authorization dash models. Ooh, I think it's underscore. What am I doing? Oh, it is dash. Okay, that explains something. So it is dash, not underscore. Makes sense, actually. Let's see. Okay. Similar error, so we might be missing something else. Okay. So you don't like this with this body. You can stop it with the following snippet, which is, and let's double check here what we have. HTTP API, blah, 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 stores this store ID, which is the one I have defined above, dash authorization models with body. And then in the body, we're sending, you know, what we have in our JSON file. Yes. Okay, maybe I have to do it as JSON. I don't know. Let me see. JSON.parse. Do I need to do the parsing here? Let's check. I'm gonna put binding pri here. And I probably need to require pri here. And I'm gonna run this again. So what's this? This is giving me a hash. Do I want a hash? I don't think I do. I think I want just a JSON. So I might just be okay just by reading the file. Ugh, am I? Okay, let's try it. I'm not sure, but we're gonna try that. And close this. We're gonna close this. Try it like that. Wait. And I don't think I want to do to JSON here or anything. I just want to read it as it comes. Let's see. Ugh, no, that's even worse apparently. Okay, no, let's wait. I'm gonna leave this with the JSON parsing situation. And then I'm gonna figure it out here. So I don't know why it doesn't like it, and I wanna see why. Okay, so valid body, let's explore that. It's a hash. And then if I try to do it to JSON to that, without this bunch of spaces here, I get pretty much what I need. So why isn't this working? This looks like what the stubbing situation wants. Let me see if I can test this Can I test this on the console? Let's see. Okay, I can, but then I get, okay. I think inside the stop method, I'm already doing to JSON. That could be it. Yep. So I'm doing that twice. Yep. Okay, let's see if I can remove. What do I get? Okay, that looks better, but I think that's what I had earlier. Let's see. Seriously, I don't trust that. Did you just work magically? I'm gonna close this. Okay, I'm gonna make this fail because I don't trust it. I want the authorization ID not to be equal. I never remember how you do the equal thingy, but I want to make this fail. Okay, I'm gonna say instead of not to be nil, I'm gonna say to be nil because I need to see it fail first. Let's see. Am I the only one who's paranoid about that? Okay, I want to expect it nil and got this. Okay, so that's okay. That's actually what I wanted to see. Okay, nice. We fixed that one. So let's see the other possible scenario. So this is when everything goes well. And now we're going to go for the errors. So when you send an invalid authorization model request, when the store ID is missing, that's right. And an error if the body is missing. I guess if the body is missing, so if we get a bad request, authentication we're not doing right now, or authorization, so okay. Okay, I'm gonna accept that. But we gotta stop the request. So I'm gonna copy this. And so I think the easiest one for me to think is when the store ID is missing. And if I go to the code, when the store ID is missing, we should get an argument error actually. So that's what I'm gonna test for. Okay, this is raising an argument error. So I'm gonna try, I'm gonna stop the request. This is a post. And then in the store ID, I'm gonna say, oof, is it missing? Not in the URL, but in the actual call of a method, right? And I don't think we need anything else. I mean, I'm gonna put here 400, but I don't think I need anything else because this is not even gonna get there. So let's test in 194. I don't trust it. I'm gonna put something here just to see. Okay. I did get an error. Fair. Cool. And then we're gonna do, so if the body is missing, yeah. We still gotta stop the request though. Actually here the body is gonna be missing as well in the actual request. So we should, but it's not even gonna get there in the code. So we will get an argument error again. That's 201. Cool. And then I would say, yeah, raises an error for invalid authorization model request. So when we're using the invalid body in this case. So let's grab this and stop this request. This is fine. We're gonna say 400. We're gonna send the invalid body. And in the response body, we're gonna get this. So like, code, validation error, something like that. And that should give us an API error. Let me check here. So once you pass all of this, if there's something wrong in the actual body, when you're trying to make the request, and that is when you call the API, and then when you call the API, here's when you're doing the response. And this is where you get the API error. So if it's not a success, we're going to get a message like this with a code. I reckon we should get something like this. So let's see. This is test run 9190. Raise error, API error. Do you know what I want? I want to test the error message as well. I want to make sure it's the right error message. So let's ask our friend Copilot to do that for us. We're just going to pass this line and we're going to say fix to test error message. Nah, you know how you can do this? Okay, can you stop it? It's by sending a, ooh, can you do it just like that? That's interesting. But I was gonna suggest to pass a block with the error, and I think I've done that somewhere else. Ruby SDK here. I think I've done that, and I'm kind of wanna reuse that. Where is that? Here, you see? There's an expectation to erase error, and then the error to be of this, and to have this like form like that. Let me see if I can rewrite that. So in this case, I want to expect this call, not this, to raise an error, which is going to be OpenFGA API error, and expect the error message to be, actually, the error message should be something like what I have above. But I'm going to run this just to make it fail, because, you know, paranoid. Okay, it failed, and it should be around the, oops, we have an error here. There we go. It failed for the wrong reason, but it failed. This is what I was expecting. Error message, the server returns an error. Expected this, got error message, the server return error, HTTP. Okay, so this is good. So this is returning the response header to response body. So it's returning the line that I was telling you about, this part here. It's an API error with these values. Which, funny enough, it's not even returning the, is it returning the message? It is in the body, in the response body. Okay, fair. So this is gonna be error message. The server returns an error, really? Where is that coming from? Wait, I'm gonna put a binding pry here, so I need to explore this. As you can see, I'm a fan of using pry. What can I say? Can you use the breakpoints? Yes. Do I prefer to use pry? Yes. So what's this error? Error is error message, the server returns an error. I want to know where that's coming from. And then you have HTTP code, blah, response headers, blah, content type, blah, 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 blah. Where is this error message server returns an error coming from? Aha. So that actually exists. If the message is nil, what message? In API error. Apparently, if some message is nil, you get that message. But I'm pretty sure I'm sending a message, so like, isn't this the message? Curious. Here. Okay, so you know why? It's because it's not even adding the message here. I think the return message probably. If I change this, I'm gonna have to change the generator, but I'm curious to see if that's what that's generating this message. Oops, I have my pry here. Oops, return message for instance Faraday response. Okay. Okay, that was something else then. Okay, I'm gonna not do this and just fix the test so it doesn't, it's green basically. Where am I? Here. So we were saying here, look, we need error message. The server returns an error. This is the first thing that we get. And then HTTP status codes 400, and then response headers. The response headers, I think we're setting in the stub. Yeah, so the response header are gonna be this. Probably not like that, but just as here. So I'm gonna copy these ones. And then, oh no, I'm ruining my code with double quotes. And then the response body is going to be whatever I'm sending, which is a code and this message here, right? Not with double quotes, no. 300,000 years later, I'm still changing the quotes. Should we test this? It's such a long line, I hate it. Let's see. It failed. What's the difference? Response header, content. Are you kidding me? That is the quotes. The quotes are the issue right now. They are. So let's change them. I think if I just, which ones do I need to escape? The ones that, let me go back. If I escape them with a backslash, it should be fine. Yeah, it's horrible to see, but you know. At least if this changes in the generator, this test will fail, and that we will know that there were some changes. So I was thinking how necessary it really is to test this message, right? But I think it is because of that reason. For some reason, the message changes. This can break someone's code, so we might as well test it for them. Okay, is it better now? Do you like it better like that? Whoops. It does, but now let's run it without my binding price. Yeah. Does this work if I like do this? No, I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm just gonna have a very long, horrible line there. So yeah, okay. So if I run all my tests right now, that's nice. So we did write the test for writing an authorization model. Let's commit that before I forget. Project spec helper and this. Okay. Test for authorization. Write authorization model. Write authorization model. Oh my God. It's been almost an hour since we started. That's crazy. And I'm even using Copilot. Like, imagine if I wasn't. This is crazy. Let's see if we can replicate this. Now that Copilot has the context of how I did it for the previous one, let's see if we can do the read one faster. Let's see. So, can I clear this? Using one reference, this file. Okay. Write test for read authorization model. And in the case for reading, I think the cases are going to be the same. Like if the store ID is missing and the authorization model is missing. Okay, it's trying to use the valid response with whatever it learned, but at least it's using the stubbing that I defined. So that works for me. So these two I'm going to copy because they're useful for me. And I'm going to put them here. Now, the valid response, I'm going to use the same one I use to the previous one. And you know what? I might just put this in a before, or not even a before, but outside of here, because I think I'm going to use this multiple times. So I'm just going to leave it outside of the context, and probably the store ID as well, if I'm honest. So we're going to have that outside. Here we have the model ID, and then let's see what you propose. So successful, if the store ID is missing, if the model ID is missing, and then if there's an error, or okay, if the authorization model doesn't exist, fair. And what else can we get? I think that's it. Those would be the cases. So I'm going to copy them. Only this part, I don't need the rest. And we're going to see what we get after this. Let's close this. Don't need you right now. Okay, I'm going to run it all and see what I get. Okay, we actually got one failing. Valid response. Not working. Okay, what is that? Valid response. Oh. Okay, because it's not called valid response, it's called valid body. And then the valid response actually, let's see what would be a valid response for this one. It is this one. A valid response would be something like this. So you know what? We're going to use the same example. And we're going to put that in here. Authorization model.json. I'm going to put it here and call it read authorization model response.json. There we go. And then I'm gonna read authorization model response, and then I'm gonna do this. Well, yeah, can you autocomplete that? Let's see. Thank you. But not from this one, but the read authorization model response. Read authorization model response. I'll refactor this in a bit. I just want to make this work first. So Valid response. Let's put the valid response here. Very similar to this one. And here is going to be read authorization model response. Why is this not completing? Valid response. And so this can be valid response. No, this is valid body, but then we got to pass a response. Response body is valid response. Not to JSON because I'm already doing that inside. And the status is 200. Okay. Authorization model ID. Let's see what this does. What are we expecting? We're expecting this to be equal to the valid response. No, this is going to fail because this is actually going to be a get authorization, read authorization model response. That's what I want to see. I want to see this failing. Unknown keyword body. Yes, it's called request body. Thank you for that, Copilot. Let's see. Okay, now we get again to the stubbing situation. So this is a get to store ID, authorization model ID. And now we're talking about the body with body blah. Oh, wait, this is, I don't need to send a body here. This is not necessary because this is just a get request. Okay, so as I mentioned, probably here, instead of a JSON, we got the read authorization model response, which is great. I really wanted this to fail. So we want result to be instance of, and we can copy that one actually from. Did we do that here? We did, no? Yeah. I'm gonna do these two expectations. I know it's probably best to have like one expectation per test, but I want to expect result to be a read authorization model response, and I want result dot, let me see, result the authorization model dot ID. I want it to be something. I mean, okay, not to be nil is fair, but let's see what we get. That worked. Do I want to check against the actual ID? Let's do it. So I want to do this to be like, I think I did that in the stores test. Yeah, 2 equal 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So 2, instead of being nil, I wanted to equal EQ to what? To the model ID. Is that right? Yes, that should be right. Let's see. Okay, cool. So they're all passing. Let me review them because, paranoid. So it raises an error if store ID is missing. As we know, this is going to give an argument error. Yeah, and in both of these cases, there's no need to stop a request because it doesn't even get to make that request. So that's okay. It raises an error if the authorization model does not exist. So if we make a request and the status is 404, also let's check what we get when it's a 404. A code and a message. We could actually send that, but okay. So reauthorization model to raise error, OpenFGA AP error. And then again, here we could do something similar to what we did when writing an authorization model and actually test the message. So if I take this, even though I don't like how long this is, I can put it here. And this is what I want to test. So raise error, blah, and then here the error message is going to be different. Yep. Basically, but that's basically because this is going to be 404. And in the response body, we're not sending anything, but we should send this. So if we want to be consistent to what the API actually returns, here, we're going to say response body, not the invalid body, thank you very much, but this. And send this in the super long string. I feel, you know, it's weird that I'm stopping it and then testing it, but I don't know. TBD if we're going to improve that. Now this should work. Yes, nice. Cool. I think, I mean, since it's been like an hour, but I think we can finish with these ones today. So with the help of our friend Copilot. So let's just do it. Write test for read authorization models. If I refresh, do I have to like refresh the file to do this? So I feel like, honestly, I feel like I can just, I'll be better off copying it from the previous one. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to do that. Thank you for Pilot, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to, because it's going to be similar to this one. Let's see. So this is for reading one single authorization model. So if I want multiple, we'll deal with those comments eventually. So if I do this, let's see, and let's fix it. So listing authorization models. I don't think I need a model ID. Let's deal with this comment later. Returns authorization models successfully, and so we want to do a get to authorization models with no model ID. That will give us a 200, and it will give us a valid response. I don't think we have a valid response here. We have fair. Let's put this inside. The valid response I was using is only for read authorization model, like a single one. But here, for listing, the response should be, I think it should be, in my head, it should be an array of this, but I think it actually only returns the IDs. So let's take a look quickly to get authorization models. Yeah, you get the IDs. Wait, what's this? Authorization models. Return on authorization models for a particular store. Yep. And then, oh no, you get everything. Do you? Okay, I honestly thought you got, you know, just the IDs, but okay. How different is that from this? This is just one authorization model. So yeah, the structure is different. So I'm gonna again replicate this to read authorization models response.json. And I'm gonna use this as my response. And then we're gonna create a little helper function here. And then you see the pattern, right? All these functions do the same. Again, I'll work on this afterwards to refactor it. And read authorization models response. Response body is going to be valid response. And this returns a 200, right? Yes. So read authorization models, I don't think we need to pass anything. Do we? Probably the store ID. Yes. So the store ID. And this is going to fail. And I want it to fail because I want this to be an instance of read authorization models, plural, response. And let me get rid of that. So let me try on the first test. 269. I did the whole context. No, I only one. No. 71. Okay. Let's see. One failure. Authorization models cannot be new. Oh, we got an argument error. Interesting. That is actually interesting. So, read authorization models response. Authorization models cannot be new, and it's not new. Authorization models. Interesting. Response body, valid response, and that is from here. Okay. From this store ID, do you need something about the store ID? I don't. Where do you get this? You get it here when you're reading the object. Okay. Weird. It's failing, but not for the reason I thought it was going to fail. There's a part where where you're deserializing. Let me see what's getting here just before we deserialize it into. So what's getting here is in response. Ooh, I want to type there. I want to type here response. So this is a Faraday response. Actually, I want the response body. And this is authorization model. Oh, okay. So I'm not loading the right thing. I'm loading something wrong here. So let's take a look. It's probably something about me changing the variables from places. Okay, the first thing is this valid body I'm not using for stopping this request. So that shouldn't affect. The valid response, I'm using read authorization models response. And if I go to my class, read authorization, haha. So just a little difference there with the plural. Let me try this again and this should work. Let's see what's getting here. This makes more sense. Now it's called authorization models and that should give me the error I'm actually expecting. Yes, that I'm expecting multiple authorization models and not just one. So read authorization models response and that should pass now. Whoops, I need to get rid of that binding prime, but yes, that passes. Where did I write it? Was it here? It must be here. Yep. Get rid of that. Okay, cool. So that's that one. If store ID is missing, we get an argument error. If the model ID is missing, we're never going to get the model ID for this one. So that's not necessary. And this is read authorization models, plural. Let's test that. Okay, 2 failures. Model ID. Oh, yeah, this is wrong. And probably down here. Read authorization models, model ID. Don't need to be sent. So the one, now I should get only 1 failure. Yes. And raises an error if the authorization model doesn't exist. This is not going to happen in this example. Let's see what else can happen with this. An invalid input. Incorrect path. I mean, yeah. I think I'm just gonna get rid of this test. No, wait, I'm not gonna get rid of it. If the authorization model doesn't exist, this is not gonna happen because I want a list, but what if what could be the error here? Let's see, what did I do for stores? When deleting, so I feel like we're missing one. When getting, no, when listing. It should raise an error. Okay, fair, let's do it like that. Because we at least want to make sure that when it has to raise an error, it raises an error. It raises an error. And then stop the response with this information, so without the model ID. And let's say this is going to do a 400, not a 404. And I don't want to test the response body right now. I just want to see that this raises an error. And so I want read authorization models to raise an error just like this. Let me copy the single line from here. This actually only this part, only the raise error part, because I don't really want to do the. Okay, now we shouldn't have any failures. Awesome, and that's literally we finish with the authorization model tests for now. I'm gonna commit that because I always forget to commit when I'm live streaming. I'm gonna commit and then I'm gonna do the refactor I was saying I was gonna do. Add authorization models tests. There we go. Okay. So I think I'm gonna work on that for a little bit longer today. I am, however, gonna take a break from the stream and I think we can call it a day for today. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen now. I still have like half of my coffee and it's so cold now. It's not even funny, so I need to reheat that. Thank you very much for watching, for joining, for saying hello, and I will see you in a few weeks. Just a reminder that next week and after I will be either on holiday or at events. So I'll keep you posted on where I am on LinkedIn, probably on Blue Sky. So thank you very much for watching and see you.